Hello, everybody! We are live and so excited. Thank you so much for coming back for another episode. If not now, when? Today, oh my God, my friend, I am just so excited for the special guest I'm about to introduce. Her name is Dena Mekawi. Ta-da! Dena is a speaker. She's an impact strategist. She's a consultant for the private family offices. She today is involved in the business development for high net worth individuals, and she also is a partner of the royal family in the UAE. Dena serves as a bridge for multinational business in the United States as well as the MENA region. Dena is focusing on impact investing because she believes in power of human capital. Well, with all that, she also is a founder for Style and Resilience, a marketing and consulting firm that provides services for brand, high-profile individuals, nonprofits, family offices, and so many more. She's also the co-founder for the Thunder Pixel Games. Oh my goodness, what a fascinating life journey. With that, everybody, I'm just so excited and so honored. Thank you so much, Dena, for joining us, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited.
Yes, Dena, your life story is so interesting. So tell us, how is the journey begin?
Yes, I just want to thank you for holding this space. So my journey began as a person navigating their way in trying to figure out their identity as a first generation Arab American in New York. Mm-hmm. As many people, I've struggled with the question of who am I really? As a first generation, we inherit a lot of the values that our immigrant families, instill in us from a young age, but then you grow up as, a first generation in America, you start seeing others navigating in a different way. And for me personally, a lot of the insecurities, and questions that I had towards who am I really, a lot of it was stemmed from a lot of the stereotypes that existed, but then also the lack of representation and the narratives that I saw, when I used to flip my favorite magazines, or when I used to see, my favorite shows on TV, whether it's Access Hollywood or one of those, celebrity shows. So for me, I understood the importance of media consumption at a young age and how important it is to really include diverse individuals. And, I never knew my purpose in life. I graduated college. I was trying to find a regular job. And, in college, they don't really teach you the opportunities of entrepreneurship. I mean, I come from a entrepreneurship family, you could say, but they also built their way up from nothing when they came to America. So I had that, it was familiar to me, but the school system in general, it didn't really prepare me for entrepreneurship. And so I graduated, I was getting rejected a lot. I was just trying to figure out why. And so, I had a mentor for 6 months after I graduated. I was just so depressed and had no idea what I wanted to do. I was just trying to get a regular job, like they tell you, a 9 to 5. And I had a mentor that helped me. I was just self-reflecting a lot. And he told me everything that I already knew about myself, but he did it in a way where he crafted my purpose, honestly. And I didn't think that people would care about my story. And it was just, once he helped me, I chose to go to Pace University to get my master's in digital publishing. And I wanted to work at a magazine. I was working at Oprah magazine. But once I figured out that topic essay was my entry essay for Pace University, I was accepted. Then I went to run for Miss Arab USA as a contestant in 2013. Then that's when I started attracting everything to my life. Like once I figured my purpose was to really empower, but also inspire others that may feel like they weren't represented in their narrative in mainstream media. I started attracting a lot of the opportunities. That was when I was given the chance to represent an organization at the United Nations. And so, yeah, that's how I started, in short.
So, what is your purpose and why is that important to you?
My purpose is really to give space to those who may feel like there isn't a space for them, and to allow others to be seen and to be heard, and to really use my resources that I've cultivated throughout the years to inspire to inspire others. For me, I started my company Silent Resilience on that basis of, if I wanted to see the right representation of Arab Americans, or even a project that I would have been inspired by, I knew that I had to be at the forefront of that. I don't want to say I represent the underrepresented, but I also want to create that space for those who may feel like they're underrepresented or they don't have any direction in life. So for me, it's really that. It's to create impact while also allowing others to be seen and heard.
And that's how you start your business, right?
Yeah.
And I want to ask you on that is, do you always knew you want to start your business? And at that time, you were still relatively, you said that you were a little bit not as experienced at that moment. How do you know that's what you want? And how do you go about that? Wasn't that scary thinking about going to start a business?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's funny, when I was young, my parents would ask me, I think I was maybe like 13, 14, when they would ask me, I mean, first of all, I've always been into fashion and self-expression, very stylish, people would say. And so I knew that there had to be a way to merge those two, the creative space and the impact space. And when they would ask me what I wanted to do, honestly, my answer would be, I want to sit in an office with a great view in Manhattan and raise my hand and tell people if I agree or not. Don't ask. And now I interpret that as being a boss.
There you go.
I swear, I remember clearly, my parents would ask me and that would be my answer. I wanted to dress nice in a power suit and sit at the table and make decisions. But when I was 13, 14, my answer would be sitting in a fancy office and just agreeing or disagreeing.
Were you ever afraid, Dena? I feel like you do a lot of things. You've done a lot of impossible. You always just go for it. Were you ever afraid, or you just always assert of who you are, and when you decide, you just go after what you want?
No, I was definitely afraid. I had no idea. 6 years ago, my company, but for 2-3 years, I was always well, maybe this should be a nonprofit. Well, maybe it should be a media platform. It's always a risk, and it's always that uncertainty. But yeah, I honestly, for me, it was scary for sure. Because I think for one of the traits of entrepreneurship is really having that persistence, that annoying persistence. And that's honestly what I had, that resilience, but also that persistence, being able to allow others to slam the door in your face and tell you no, and tell you they're too busy, and okay. And that always was a driving factor for me. It was, I swear, every time, and I used to take it personal, but now I never do. But at the time when people would, say, well, no, or I don't think it's a great idea, it would be such a driving force of motivation for me. I would be like, okay, watch in a few years, watch this, watch that. And honestly, some of them, the same ones that would, doubt me, were the ones that would reach out later and want to be part of what I was doing, or be, involved and work with me in some capacity. So
I'm curious, where does that drive come from? You said every time he would say no to you, that become your new motivation. You were like, watch me. I will show you, right? Where does that come from? Do you always like that?
Honestly, for me, my motivation is my family, because I saw how much they had to go through. It's a drive. There's just no excuse for us. You know what I mean? As immigrants to this country with nothing to their name, for them to do what they've done, I think for me, it's really making them proud. And really being able to say like, okay, it was worth leaving their family for,
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
I think oftentimes it's easy to take things for granted, but you really see the path that our parents take and, who we are becoming today as a result. I think it's so easy to start realizing, wow, life is really short. We want to make them proud. So beautiful. And, today, of course, you are just so successful with many things that you do in, multi-passion entrepreneur for sure. I want to ask you, today we talk about success so much, but I'm curious about failure. I'm curious, do you ever fail? And when you do, how did you move forward? Because part of entrepreneurship is, like you said earlier, you had to get over those no until you get a yeses, right? So how do you handle that and move forward?
Yeah, there are days, where I would question like if what I'm doing is worth it. Am I doing it right? Should I just go the easy route and just, do something that's less risky? So there has been obviously like it's a lot of again, you have to have a lot of strength and resilience. But for me, it's really pushing myself. And there were just so many times where I would have meetings with top CEOs that would want me to work with them under their umbrella, and they see so much value in what I bring. And so I sometimes step back and say, am I afraid myself? You know what I mean? Like I know what I bring to the table, but sometimes I'm the one that's holding myself back. I'm the one that's questioning, am I good enough? Am I able to? When the same people that I once saw as a competition or, things that, stuff like that. I think sometimes we get in our own way, if that makes sense. And I think part of the formula is really being able to get out of your own way. And I don't want to keep repeating because the imposter syndrome is such a overused word lately, but I really think we sometimes get in our own way, but being able to understand and pivot is really key. Being able to really pivot and being okay with failure and not being able to figure things out at times and being able to just take time for yourself and reflect and so that's really
And I love what you just touched about that self-doubt. And oftentimes, our own question, own insecurity oftentimes is the biggest obstacle. Like even though everyone else sees us, such a creative, such incredible entrepreneurs, but deep down, those voices oftentimes will come up, especially when we're early in the entrepreneur journey. So how do you get over that? How do you say, what? Damn, I got this. Right? How do you move forward? How do you shift that mindset? How do you move from that state of questioning and really step into your power? Because I know, Dena, one thing I adore about your story when I first talked to you is how you really embody yourself, around this whole journey and become this self-confidence and radiance businesswoman. And you have a long journey home. So I'm just curious if you can share, a couple insight and tips with others.
Honestly, I had a lot of amazing individuals and still do support team, whether it's my co-founder / mentor, people who really remind me that, why I started and remind me how badass I am. Just very there would just be some days where I just call them and just cry and complain, and I give myself a few minutes and then I'll just remind myself honestly sometimes this might sound crazy, but sometimes I just go through what I've done. I'll skim through my website or my Instagram and I'm just like, wow, do you remember you did that? You know what I mean? I have to remind myself, because as much as people say wow, you've done amazing things, I think I hear this from a lot of successful people too. It's the same individuals that would be like, oh, thanks, but it's all right. I still want to do more. You know what I mean? So I feel like sometimes we don't, it's good because you always strive for greatness. If you're comfortable, then that's dangerous. So I think the key is to continue to be proud of yourself, but always wanting to better yourself.
I heard another expression that be happy with who you are, where you are, but never satisfied. So be happy, yet continue to strive for better. I think it's such a beautiful way that you just demonstrated, because I think oftentimes entrepreneurs, almost a synonym of high achiever, overachiever. And being overachiever, right, really, it comes with that personality, just want more. And therefore, it's hard to really sitting, feeling that, damn, I am amazing, right? You say, oh, I'm good. Okay, I'm good. I'm going to move forward, right? So I think having that balance is so important. I just love that, your journey, your dream of becoming who you are today is just really inspiring. And now I want to pivot our conversation into a little bit entrepreneurship, right? So you start your business 6-7 years ago. How is it coming? How is the process? When you started your business, is that everything you wanted it?
So yeah, like I kind of mentioned before, when I started it, I actually didn't really, it was actually, I think it was 14 or 2015. I knew I wanted to start something. So I started my website, then I filed for my LLC, and I just went for it. I swear, it was just kind of like, okay. And then when I did all that, I'm just like, okay, what now? Then I started networking. I started researching what other companies are out there doing this. What is so different about me? What am I going to do differently? How am I going to stand out? So a lot of first I was like, okay, it could be a media platform. Okay, then no, maybe a nonprofit. But no, I wanted to be a for-profit since I'm already working with the UN, representing an organization there. So it was a lot of question marks, basically. I had a desire. I knew I had a passion for ideas. I knew I had a passion for, representation. I just didn't know exactly how to pick the puzzles together, And the more I was at the UN, and we still have a partnership with them for like 8 years now. The more I was at the UN, the more I met amazing individuals. I've had opportunities to co-chair several youth committees. I've brought, a lot of creative projects to the UN as well. And, I continue to build and cultivate relationships outside of the UN too, with celebrities, personal relationships too. And, I was that person, even at Oprah magazine, I was like, if I was to bump into Oprah right now, oh my God, I have to sell her something. I have to have an idea. So I was that person, and that mindset is very wrong. And I later realized that the key sometimes is being yourself, genuinely just being yourself and telling your quick pitch elevator story. But then also building a relationship is so key. Building a relationship, whether it's transactional or not, it's so key. And I remember my mentor, when I met a specific celebrity, and now he's a good friend of mine. One of my mentors, he actually was telling me, you're not going to actually make the money from the celebrity. You're going to make the money from the celebrities that want to get to that celebrity. Because I would always be like, oh my God, this celebrity, how do I make money? How do I do a deal with them? And I'm not saying it's not possible, but one of my mentors, and I'll never forget it, he's like, you're not going to exactly think in that way. Think of it like you're going to make the money from people who want to get to him. So that's why I learned the key of relationships. And that's why they say your network is your net worth. It really started making sense. And it's not just about connecting the dots of, a lot of people are accessible, even celebrities. But I think the key is they trust me. I've built relationships where they're able to now trust me, whether it's a friendship level or a professional level. And that's one of the most valuable things I think is key, is relationships.
Wow, that's so incredible. And of course, today you are master of relationship building. What do you think that made you so different and special, Dena?
Yeah, I feel like, honestly speaking, and I don't want to be very kind of the cliche, but just be authentic, be genuine. I remember I used to try so hard when I would meet Malala at the UN. I would just get so nervous. Yeah, and I'm like,
I love her. Sorry.
No, it's okay. And then I would come home and then I would be like regretful that I didn't say something. I don't know. I would always get into my head like, you have to be this perfect, you have to have this pitch and you have to have, this perfect story to tell them. When it's just literally sometimes you just be yourself. You know what I mean? Like, don't be too aggressive in wanting to take pictures. Just have a conversation. Ask them a question that you typically won't ask. And I think for me, it's just a lot of the repetitive things and the feedback I've been getting is that people read energy, and I'm a big energy person too. So for me, I think it's probably my authenticity and my energy to just want to connect with like genuine people. And I don't claim to know everything. And that's the one thing I think maybe people appreciate. Like, I don't claim to know everything, but I could probably guarantee that if I don't know something, I could get on the phone with somebody who does know the answers or has leads to that request. So I think that's the key, is really be authentic.
That's so beautiful. And I heard Tony Robbins often said, being an entrepreneur is not means you have all the resources. It means you are being resourceful. If you don't know anything, pick out the phone. You can Google, you can YouTube today. All the information are available, and you having that mindset of, I can figure it out. I think that is everything.
Absolutely.
Amazing. So sounds like the 6 years, business venture for you, Dena, is really like a trial and error, and really figured out where pieces come together, and eventually you find your path, right? Combining with creative space and impact space. Is it what it is today?
Well, yeah, that's where it is today. At the beginning, I started, I thought I wanted to solely focus on PR. But then I noticed that my strength is strategy and partnerships. So we did a lot. We started doing a lot more partnerships. We started doing a lot more strategic private partnerships. And then the last few years, it really has become a strategy firm too, consulting with family offices and investors, and really working with partners, whether it's companies that want to expand in the Middle East or build strategic partnerships in Dubai or the Middle East or a private royal family office. My mission hasn't really changed, because people still come to me specifically for the impact portion of investments too, whether it's where to invest in the impact space, whether it's which projects are out there, and people are trusting me because I have that UN resource and experience and accessibility. So the main mission hasn't really changed, but I think we pivoted because we saw what the clients are looking for and what they're coming for us more towards, so.
Why impact specifically are important to you, Dena?
Because I feel like it's organic. Like, I think for me, I know what my skill set is. I bring people together, I forge relationships. And then you start reading statistics about the lack of funding to, like, for example, women in general from DCs. And then you start seeing the lack of funding specifically to the Middle Eastern women. Like, I think it was a study that said like billions of dollars in 2019 and only 2% for Middle Eastern women. And for me, whenever I see a problem or an issue, and if I could fill that gap with the resources I have and what I'm already doing on a smaller scale, it makes me think of it more of like a challenge. Like, okay, I'm able to influence people, bring people to the table, have the resources. There is clearly like a disparity gap with that, where the allocation of capital is going. I'm not going to say I'm solving all the problems, but at least be able to be that resource. And how do we use that capital for something that could create change, So
can you tell me, how does that look like when you meet Malala at UN? I want to hear about it. I love her. I love Malala. But today I donate everything I make, 10%. I love, love, love her and her mission. How does that feel meeting her?
Amazing. I was honestly, young, but like this was like 7 years ago. This was maybe like one of my first experiences to the UN. Like, it was like a very high level meeting. And I feel like I was just so it was so different, my approach back then. I was so like, why am I here? Do I deserve to be here? What am I going to say to her? Like literally Malala, it was like, I was right here and she was like maybe like a few inches away from me, and obviously security, but like I could have easily went to speak to her. And I think I did actually, but I think I only said like, it's so great meeting you. You're so inspiring. And I think it's respectful because, you know, again, I'm not the kind of person to like want to take up so much time. Then I also met individuals that work for her nonprofit and we explored areas of partnership, but she's just such a humble girl, you know, and her father too. He's just amazingly like supportive of everything she's doing and her story and how she's uplifting more girls for education. It's amazing. Amazing.
It just made my heart swell to think about, you know, her and her father, her legacy, and continue to empower young girls' education in that part of the world. It's just so beautiful. And, you know, Dena, today you are, you know, such a heart-centered businesswoman, right? You are not only, you know, really, like today, I think you know your strengths, you know how to play, you know how to really see yourself, you know, as part of this big universe and really making impact, leveraging what you know and really what you also enjoy too. And I'm curious, what are the future you want to build? Like, what is the one day that vision that you wanted to seek?
For the world or for myself? Like for what
the world and yourself.
Well, that's the thing. For me, it's always about how can I contribute and help others. So whatever I'm doing and building, it's usually, you know, the vision is really focused on a greater purpose. So like, again, like for me, it's really to grow my company into like a large powerhouse that people can see and go to for anything related to impact, diversity, inclusion, working with large corporations globally. Like we've been able to extend in, you know, Dubai, do a lot of more business in the UAE, Dubai, but really become this powerhouse of everything impact, everything diversity and inclusion, bringing the investors and bringing projects and being able to really give opportunity to entrepreneurs that are looking for capital and just really become this powerhouse of different sectors and areas, you know, like, you know, I think we'll get there, but being able to really build on that through partnerships, through more strategic partnerships and really be able to influence these big brands and, you know, on a large global scale. So
I know today you are so passionate about impact investing specifically. So I'm curious, with that in mind, what kind of future you wanted to build? What kind of impact you want to have in the world?
There's just so many different ways that impact investing can, you know, change lives. Like, for example, this is a little bit, not really random, but there's a medtech project that I might be on an advisory board for. I might be introducing them to some family offices for investments, but they're basically using technology to combat cancer and kind of like a dialysis for cancer, you know, to provide more invasive technology for cancer cells. Not to get into detail, but you know, things like that. If I could be that source to really bring capital to them, but also later on, obviously, they would want to expand globally and be able to really become a key resource for them on that scale. That's one of the ways. Renewable energy, one of the funds, they're looking to build like stadiums through renewable energy and finance them. And, you know, some of my partners, they have interesting projects that they're looking at. And I think really being able to create a world where you're able to bring your resources and your ideas together for a greater purpose is key.
I love that. I love that future. I love that vision. I can totally already seeing that. And I really, of course, love what you do. And in all year, Dena, you touch base on, you know, today, the investing, the capital, limited of that resources going to female or Arab female entrepreneurs, right? I'm curious, any advice, any suggestions that you have for anyone who's watching, who's listening today, who maybe wanted to start something today or tomorrow, right? You see a lot of startups, you're working in many, many businesses. What advice, what suggestion you will share with her?
I mean, it really depends, but just like an overall, like if they're looking to start a company, choose the right founders and co-founders. They're going to be key long term. Choose the right mentors. Be strategic in who you work with, even the investors, because they'll probably be very heavily involved. And make sure they're also passionate about your vision and not just putting dollars in your company, because that's also like a very like a strategic thing that people probably sometimes overlook. And then the capital aspect is, really be able to, I think if we're looking for more female-led entrepreneurs or access to capital, we need to be able to create a place or a platform. Like I said, I've created it. I just, for now, with partnerships, I think it will be more available for others to really know that we're doing this. And then through our partners, like we've had a conversation last week with a VC studio that works with entrepreneurs, even in the developing stages before they even have the actual proof of concept, and they invest in the entrepreneurs. So again, we're looking to partner with them to really allow more entrepreneurs and access to funding. And he's also Egyptian. So just being able to really connect with individuals who are creating those opportunities for others and entrepreneurs and startups.
I love that. My last question for you, Dena, is you said that today you are the first generation of Arab American, right? I wonder, what's the American dream mean for you?
The American dream. The American dream is being able to freely access the opportunities that you desire, and but then also creating a world that's equitable and equally, providing space for opportunities for men and women, girls and boys. So, being able to combine purpose and wealth and legacy. I think that's probably the American dream.
Oh my God, I love that. Wealth, purpose, and legacy is so beautiful. That is the moment we drop the mic. And oh my God, thank you so much, Dena. Your presence, your story is so inspiring, and really, really want to honor your time and share those beautiful insights with all of us. And I enjoy it so much. And thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in live or listening afterwards. We really, really appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I do. And I cannot wait to see you guys next time. Bye, guys.
Thank you.